Have you ever found yourself questioning your relationship? That nagging feeling in your gut telling you something isn't quite right? You pour your heart into showing up, being present, and giving your best. Yet the energy you receive in return feels lacking. Like you're speaking a language she doesn't understand. Or worse, doesn't care to learn. This disconnect isn't just in your head, warrior. It's a reality many men face, regardless of their strength, success, or confidence. Even the most accomplished men can find themselves in relationships where their true worth goes unrecognized and unappreciated. Here's a fundamental truth that took me years to fully understand. When someone genuinely values you, evidence appears everywhere. Not in empty words or occasional grand gestures, but in consistent daily actions that communicate respect, appreciation, and genuine interest. These small moments accumulate into something powerful. They become the foundation of a relationship where you feel truly seen. Now, I'm not suggesting you need constant validation or praise. As a Stoic man who understands his intrinsic value, you know your worth doesn't depend on external approval. But let's be honest with ourselves. Relationships thrive on reciprocity. When the scales remain perpetually unbalanced, when your investment consistently outweighs hers, something fundamental is missing. Over the years working with thousands of men navigating relationship challenges, I've identified 4 critical behaviors that signal a woman doesn't truly value you. These aren't always obvious at first glance. They often hide behind excuses, rationalizations, and your own desire to see the best in her. But once recognized, they reveal everything you need to know about where you stand in her life and her heart. In the next 15 minutes, I'll walk you through these 4 unmistakable signs, explaining not just what they look like on the surface, but what they reveal about how she truly sees you. Understanding these patterns isn't about fostering resentment or judgment. It's about facing reality with clear eyes so you can make informed decisions about your own happiness and future. Remember, warrior, recognizing your value means refusing to settle for relationships where that value isn't honored. Let's uncover these signals together. Welcome to Stoic Dominion, the channel dedicated to building stronger men through ancient wisdom and modern insights. If this is your first time here, take a moment to hit subscribe and the notification bell. You'll join a brotherhood of men committed to living with purpose, dignity, and wisdom. Our goal today is 10 likes, so tap that thumbs up if you find value in what you're learning. Now let's dive deep into these critical relationship signals. Sign number 1, the priority paradox. The first and perhaps most revealing sign is what I call the priority paradox. The consistent pattern of never quite making it to the top of her priority list, despite her claims that you matter. Time is the one resource we can never reclaim or regenerate. How someone allocates their time reveals their true priorities more honestly than any words they might speak. Consider this. We all have the same 24 hours each day, and we all make time for what truly matters to us regardless of how busy our lives become. When a woman consistently positions you as an afterthought rather than a priority, pay attention. This isn't about demanding every moment of her time or restricting her independence. It's about recognizing a pattern where your connection is always the first thing sacrificed when something else arises. Look carefully at how this manifests. Last-minute cancellations becoming the norm rather than the exception. Consistently taking hours or days to respond to messages while remaining active on social media. Always having time for friends, hobbies, or work emergencies, yet struggling to create space for meaningful time with you. The pattern speaks volumes. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote extensively about the value of time, observing that people are frugal in guarding their personal property. But as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. When someone consistently wastes the time you could be spending together, they're revealing how they value the relationship. Consider Marcus Aurelius, who, despite leading an empire, literally carrying the weight of the known world on his shoulders, made time each day for reflection, connection, and honoring what he valued most. Leadership didn't become an excuse for neglecting his principles or relationships. If an emperor can make time for his priorities amid warfare and governance, someone who truly values you can find time in their schedule for quality connection. I've seen men fall into the trap of becoming time detectives, analyzing her schedule, looking for proof that she really is as busy as she claims. But warrior, this misses the point entirely. The issue isn't whether she's busy. We're all busy in this modern world. The question is whether she consistently makes you a priority despite that busyness. A woman who values you will protect your time together, treating it as sacred rather than optional. She'll communicate proactively about schedule changes rather than leaving you wondering. She'll create space for you, not out of obligation, but from genuine desire for your presence in her life. Don't allow yourself to become comfortable with crumbs of her attention. You deserve a feast, a relationship where making time for each other isn't a burden, but a joy both partners prioritize. Anything less reveals a fundamental imbalance in how she values your presence in her life. Sign number 2, the gratitude gap. The second sign manifests in what I call the gratitude gap, where your efforts, thoughtfulness, and contributions to her life go consistently unacknowledged or underappreciated. In any relationship, effort is the currency of care. When you invest thought, energy, and attention into making someone's life better, that investment deserves recognition, not because you need constant praise, but because appreciation is the natural response to genuine effort. This isn't about keeping score or demanding thanks for every small gesture. It's about recognizing a persistent pattern where your contributions, whether emotional support during her difficult times, thoughtful gifts that show you listen, or consistent reliability when she needs you, are received as if they're either expected or unremarkable. The ancient Stoics understood gratitude as a fundamental virtue. Cicero described it as not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. When gratitude is absent from how she responds to your presence in her life, it reveals something significant about how she values your contributions. I've coached men who found themselves constantly increasing their efforts, planning more elaborate dates, offering more support, making grander gestures, all in hopes of finally receiving the appreciation they craved. This is a dangerous cycle. No amount of giving will create gratitude in someone who fundamentally takes your presence for granted. Pay attention to these patterns. Does she acknowledge the things you do, or does she focus only on what you haven't done? Does she express specific appreciation for how you show up in her life, or does she seem to believe her presence alone should be enough reward for your efforts? Does she reciprocate your thoughtfulness, or is the relationship defined by your giving and her taking? A woman who truly values you will notice your efforts, not because you demand recognition, but because she's genuinely attuned to your presence in her life. She'll express appreciation not just through words, but through her own actions that demonstrate she doesn't take you for granted. Remember, warrior, your efforts deserve recognition, not because you need constant validation, but because mutual appreciation creates the foundation for a relationship where both partners feel valued. When that appreciation consistently goes missing, it reveals a fundamental lack of recognition for what you bring to her life. Sign number 3, emotional vacancy. The third sign strikes at the heart of meaningful connection, what I call emotional vacancy, where she maintains a persistent emotional distance despite physical presence. True intimacy isn't just physical, it's the willingness to be emotionally present, vulnerable, and genuinely interested in the inner world of your partner. When a woman consistently avoids emotional engagement, keeps conversation superficial, or shows little curiosity about your thoughts, dreams, struggles, or aspirations, she's revealing something significant about how she values the relationship. This emotional vacancy often manifests subtly. She might physically be beside you while remaining psychologically distant. Conversations stay in safe territory, logistics, schedules, external events, never venturing into feelings, fears, hopes, or dreams. Your attempts to deepen the connection are deflected with topic changes, sudden distractions, or even irritation that you're getting too serious. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, emphasized that meaningful human connections require mutual understanding and emotional investment. When one partner consistently withholds emotional presence, true intimacy becomes impossible. Some men rationalize this distance, telling themselves she's just not emotional, or she needs more time to open up. While people certainly have different emotional styles and comfort levels with vulnerability, a pattern of consistent emotional unavailability is different from natural temperament. Someone who values you will find their own way to show emotional investment, even if it doesn't match exactly how you express yourself. Pay close attention to whether she shows curiosity about your internal landscape. Does she ask questions about what matters to you? Or does she change the subject when conversation moves beyond surface level? Does she share her own thoughts and feelings, creating space for genuine connection? Or does she keep you at arm's length emotionally? Does she engage with your dreams and concerns, or does she dismiss them as unimportant? A woman who values you will want to know you, not just the external version of yourself you present to the world, but the deeper thoughts, fears, hopes, and dreams that make you who you are. She'll create space for real conversations. She'll offer comfort during difficult times, not out of obligation, but from genuine care. She'll celebrate your victories and support you through challenges because your emotional world matters to her. Without this emotional investment, relationships remain shallow, two separate lives running parallel rather than two hearts growing together. You deserve more than emotional vacancy, warrior. You deserve a partner who engages with your full humanity and shares her own in return. Sign number 4. The respect deficit. The fourth and perhaps most damaging sign is what I call the respect deficit, a pattern of subtle or overt disregard for your boundaries, opinions, values, and dignity. Respect forms the bedrock of any healthy relationship. Without it, love itself cannot flourish. Respect manifests in how someone speaks to you, how they speak about you to others, how they honor your boundaries, and how they treat your perspectives even when they disagree. This deficit often reveals itself in moments of disagreement. It's not about never having different viewpoints. That's normal and healthy. The revealing factor is how she handles those differences. Does she dismiss your perspective without consideration? Does she speak to you with contempt or condescension? Does she minimize your feelings or mock your viewpoints? Marcus Aurelius demonstrated that true power comes with deep respect for others. Despite his imperial authority, he treated those around him with dignity, recognizing the inherent worth in each person, regardless of status. This respect wasn't weakness. It was the foundation of his strength and wisdom. Similarly, a woman who truly values you will demonstrate respect, even during challenging moments. She'll listen to understand rather than to counter. She'll disagree without diminishing. She'll honor your boundaries not because she fears consequences, but because she values your personhood. Watch for these warning signs: frequent interruptions when you speak, dismissive language or tone when you express opinions, public undermining or embarrassment, boundary violations followed by minimization of your concerns, consistent lateness without acknowledgement or apology. These seemingly small disrespects accumulate over time, gradually eroding your confidence and the relationship's foundation. Some men accept disrespect, believing they must earn respect through achievement, or that occasional disrespect is normal in relationships. But respect isn't something to be earned in a loving partnership. It's the baseline, the starting point from which everything else grows. Without it, nothing healthy can develop. A woman who values you will demonstrate respect consistently, not perfectly, as we all have moments of failure, but as a pattern that defines the relationship. She'll apologize sincerely when she falls short. She'll speak of you with honor, both in your presence and your absence. She'll treat your thoughts, feelings, and boundaries as valid and important. Don't mistake passion for disrespect or confuse challenging you with diminishing you. A woman can strongly disagree with you while still fundamentally respecting you as a person. The difference is clear in how she expresses that disagreement and whether her goal is to understand or simply to win. Remember, warrior, how someone treats you reveals how they value you. Chronic disrespect isn't a communication problem. It's a valuation problem. You deserve a relationship where respect flows naturally because your partner genuinely recognizes your worth. These 4 signs, the priority paradox, the gratitude gap, emotional vacancy, and the respect deficit, reveal the truth about how she values you. One isolated incident doesn't establish a pattern, but when these behaviors persist despite communication, they tell you everything you need to know. Remember, this isn't about perfection. Every relationship has moments where we fall short. The difference lies in the pattern and in how she responds when these issues are raised. Does she dismiss your concerns, or does she demonstrate genuine desire to understand and grow together? Your worth as a man doesn't fluctuate based on someone else's ability to recognize it. But you honor that worth by choosing relationships where your value is acknowledged and reciprocated. Sometimes the most powerful decision you can make is walking away from connections that consistently diminish rather than elevate you. Share your experiences in the comments below. Type "Challenge Accepted" if you're committed to creating relationships where mutual value and respect define the foundation. Subscribe for more content that helps you build a life of strength, wisdom, and authentic connection. And don't forget to hit that like button if this video resonated with you. Until next time, warriors, choose wisely, live stoically, and never settle for less than you deserve.